You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 13th meeting of the Michigan City Board of Aviation Commissioners. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I'm taking it. All right, this is the Board of Aviation Commissioners monthly meeting, April 13th. Call to order. Members present. We have T.Y. Olson, Kurt Hunter, Airport Manager Jessica Ward, Paul Schaefer, BF&S, and myself, Jeff Bartlett. We do have a quorum, and Greg Poulin is absent. We do have one item I'd like to try to get amended to the agenda. This is the application and certification for payment number 1 for the SRE building. The total is $73,065.45, and this will be brought to the agenda under airport development. Do I have a motion?
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Is that based on a percentage? It's not based on work done, is it just like a time, do you know?
It's based on work done in your folder. There is, and if you amend the agenda, we can discuss it once the motion's introduced, I think.
Okay.
There, I'll explain, there's pay items for work complete.
I move that we amend the agenda to include the application certification for payment number 1 for a total of $73,065.45 for the SRE building.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes to add that to the agenda. Thank you. All right. Next one, everybody get a chance to read the minutes for the March 7th regular meeting?
I did.
Anybody have any questions to that?
No.
May I have a motion to accept the minutes for the March 7th meeting?
Yeah, we should accept the meeting.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. Reports, financial.
Yes, all right. So you all should have a current account balances report in front of you in your folder. Account balances are looking good for the most part so far this year. You can see that equipment repair is over our projected monthly budget. This is due to the invoices from Northern Indiana Mechanical for the self-service repair, pump repair. They usually bill at the end of the service after they fix the issue, but since this has been ongoing since last June, they submitted 5 invoices altogether that started June 17th of last year, June 30th of last year, July 7th of last year, and February 15th of this year. So we paid a total of $4,448.33 for those 4 invoices. And I do have the invoices and work orders here if anybody's interested in looking at them. I know you guys kind of already did before, but here's these QR if you want to see those. So those are on our claims docket. Lastly, our contractual services line is also over our projected monthly budget because of the testing that was needed also from Northern Indiana Mechanical to satisfy the requirements for the item inspection that we just went through last month. So that total is $1,949.09. That invoice and work order is also here if anybody wants to look at that, so you can see all the work that they did in order to make sure that we had all of our reports available for our item inspection. And that's account balances. Fuel, aviation fuel, we did just get 2 things of fuel on this claims docket. We got Swift fuel. We also have an invoice for avgas on there as well. So we've used 19.49% of our budget so far in aviation fuel. I see us getting Jet A real quick here since we have the skydive jumping. You know, they just started on the 6th. So we're going to have to fill up that tank pretty soon too.
All right, thank you.
Fuel sales. Overall, we sold 321.3 gallons of 100 low lead. 914 gallons of Jet A, and 269.7 gallons of Swift fuel in March. Our current fuel prices are $5.23 for full service avgas. We did just receive that fuel load, so the price is going to increase to $5.36 per gallon. I'll probably change the prices a little later today, so it's going up 13 cents. Not bad at all. $4.78 for self and full service Jet A, and $6.60 for self-service UL 94. That price went down after I got the fuel load last month, if you guys remember, from $6.75 to $6.60, so that was nice.
Still good, our fuel is a lot cheaper than the other surrounding airports.
Yep, the only one is Knox.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is okay.
Yeah, the only thing I have a peeve with is that UL 94. I mean, I love that it came here, but 660 is pretty up there.
We are selling the heck out of it, even though it's $6.60, I will say that.
Just curious, what is it, you guys ever check up on it, what's the surrounding, anybody else sell it?
No one
Out of
else
state?
sells it.
Nobody out of state though, I was just kinda curious, like whoever uses it.
You know, I haven't checked on that. I think there's like an airport in Michigan, maybe near like Detroit. I know there's some place in Wisconsin. There might be some in Illinois. I'll
Maybe
have to
I'll
check
look
on
at it
those.
just to kinda,
Yeah.
I was just curious what other people might sell it at. Alright. Alright, well, thank you. Airport manager for item UST inspection report.
Alrighty, we received the item final inspection report, which has been circulated to the board by email. There were 2 outstanding items that were requested, which included a financial document that the controller had to update and a type A operator certificate, which were both previously submitted. This should satisfy all the requirements of the inspection. And the only thing to note was there was a section chief note in the report that stated the normal operational lifespan of a UST before failing is 25 to 30 years old. The USTs at this site are now 24 years old, and the owner should already be planning on removing or replacing them soon. And I just noted that because we've already started the process. That's why we went and before the council to let them know that we needed to get above ground fuel tanks started. So we're right on the mark with when we knew we needed to replace them. So that was my note on that.
No, that was a great reminder from them and also being
Yes.
proactive, and we already started the process before that, so that's great.
Self-service fuel pump repair has been scheduled. It's going to be Monday, Tuesday of next week, as long as the repair part comes in before Friday, which it was supposed to be there tomorrow, by tomorrow. Then they're planning on coming out. It's gonna take 5 days of work. That's their estimate to complete it. So we should have avgas self-service up and running here
Nice.
quick.
next week.
Yes,
Cool.
I couldn't be more excited ever in my life, literally. Upgraded LED hanger lights. Marquis Electric was up here this week, finishing up the upgrade and the LED hanger lights out there in the maintenance hangar. There were some light fixtures that were bad after they put them in. I actually think half of them were. So they have to reorder those and then reinstall those. So we're not going to get an invoice or anything until the work's totally complete. And he did note that he definitely believes that we're going to need a couple more fixtures in there just for the building size. He feels like a couple more will light it more properly, like how it should be lit. So usually any like money I have at the end of the year, I encumber for projects like that, like LED upgrades, things like that. So that's my plan to add a few extra fixtures towards the end of the year if we have money available to do that. So.
I agree, I stopped in there, I think he just completed one of the lights, just talking to Rudy about it, and it does look like, eventually when he's all done, we'll have to close up the hangar, turn off all the lights and see what that does, and we're gonna have to add maybe 3 more rows. So it does look like we might need to add some more.
Okay.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah. Spring cleanup. We have started spring cleanup around the airport grounds. Top items on the list are remulching around the terminal building, repainting the tarmac tees. They need it. Also the parking lot lines, especially after the construction workers are going in and out of there. We're not gonna have any lines left out there. Picking up trash along the perimeter fence, cutting back branches along the perimeter fence, replacing the cabinet for ropes and chocks, reseating and replacing boards on the picnic tables, and anything else we see that needs done. So that's our annual spring cleanup list that we usually take care of. So Rudy started mowing today. That was awesome. Yeah. And I think that's it for me.
All right, well, thanks, Jeff.
We did a couple more things. We did get the antenna in for the AWAS that we ordered last June.
Oh, thank God.
So that just came in.
So bad.
It's in my office, and so I called Scott Pika, who's our tech for the AWAS, and he said he's gonna fit it in his schedule and get it in as soon as he can. So that's great.
That's great.
He's like 10 months later. How exciting!
And that should help with noise reduction,
Oh,
right?
man, it's tragic.
Okay.
It's,
Well, that's good. A lot of stuff's coming together this year.
Yeah, right. For real.
What was the note about the $14,000 for the moving the light stanchion out here?
Oh,
Is that
that Paul will talk about that at
Okay.
airport development.
Okay.
I don't think that.
I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else.
Well, thanks, Jessica.
Welcome.
Airport development. Paul.
Yeah, so for the first item on your agenda, the improved runway 220 RSA extension, that basically the only thing I have to report on that since last month is you guys allowed Katie kind of a bucket of hours to proceed with this rate grant benefit cost analysis. And after getting about 6 hours in, she's really determined that the equation is set up for surface transportation, not air transportation. So it really doesn't come out in our favor primarily because aviation is just so darn safe. So it basically, how you drive benefit and cost savings and cost advantages is basically by accidents. So let's say this was a grade separation at a railroad crossing. You can easily quantify that because it's, there's a lot of people killed by trains and car incidents each year. And so you plug it into their equations really well. Well, we've had no fatalities on this, and really when you look even nationwide, there's no fatalities between a car and an airplane. And so it really kind of doesn't fit their equations very well. So we're not sure how well it's going to really compete in there, but so she suggested that while it's a fantastic project, it's a great common sense project, right? That if we separate the grades and you can't have an airplane collide with a car, that makes the world a better place.
Yeah.
And so everybody understands that, even though because aviation is so safe, we're being penalized on the calculation. So she thought maybe we could take this document and so she spent about 6 hours on it, so we don't waste that effort, kind of tweak it around and make it more into an information pamphlet on here's the project, here's the need, here's how much money we have. Since the FAA is broke, we can use it to shop other funding sources and, at least have it. So that's.
So basically we're abandoning.
For her to spend another 33 or 30 so hours on that effort, that's a lot of money to submit something that she believes is not going to be very successful. So,
Okay.
yeah, so we don't want to spend money just to spend money, and we can definitely put it to better use.
What's the purpose of the information packet?
So the information packet, the funding shortage in FAA is real. There's no discretionary money. And it's not just impacting your airport. There's virtually every general aviation airport in the state of Indiana's projects on hold right now. There are very few, I mentioned that before, that a handful, less than 5, that actually got money last year out of 69. And so the larger airports were getting some money. Indiana got more discretionary money than they ever have. But because of those big project needs, it's just the need is overwhelming the program, and it just can't. So Aviation Indiana is working with the legislators. This is a FAA reauthorization year, so the entitlements and all that kind of stuff it has to get reauthorized. So historically, they've passed all these extensions to it. It'll probably be a while before we get one. But we're asking for a raise. It's not just Indiana, but the nation has been asking for a raise. We've been at $3.32 billion in aviation since 2000. November of 2000 is when AIP, the funding formulas that they have today, passed. And it's been like that. And since then, not to villainize the airlines or anything, but you've seen a lot of the ticket taxes that went into that. So what funds that is aviation fuel. So every gallon of gas we pump out here, 19 cents per gallon on jet. I can't remember what it is on avgas, but there's an amount that goes into the fund. Aircraft registrations go in the fund, all those things. But a big thing, obviously, is airline. There's 19% tax on an airline ticket, and then passenger facility charges on each leg of the flight. Well, when the airlines move all of their fee to ancillary fees that aren't part of the ticket, it avoids the 19%. And so what happens is nobody's been willing to raise AIP because all that money gets transferred over. And the reality of it is you could double AIP if we put the 19% tax on the ancillary fees. So I think that's gonna probably come to a head at some point in time. I don't think we'll win PFCs, but at some point in time, the taxpayer's gonna be like, hey, come on. You know, we need to get, and so surface transportation has gone up 4 times funding wise, rail's gone up 3 times, but aviation 0 in that same time period. So we need to fix it. All that said, that's bad news for this project because you're all approved FAA wise, we just need money. So the funding packet is basically to help tell that story, but also take it to the legislators and help them understand why we need more AIP. Also, maybe there are other pots of money. There's, maybe the state pot of money can help, or things that we don't even know about. There's a lot of smart people in the world, a lot smarter than me, that might be able to find this money. And so that's what we want to try to do, is just go out and ask everybody who might be able to help us fund it with the packet, since we've already done most of the work on it. For a couple more hours, Katie will have it tidied up, and so.
All right.
I just didn't want you to feel like you wasted 6 hours. When put a couple more hours to it, we definitely not more than 10, and we'll have a nice packet. I don't know that it will get you any money, but it's better than just sitting here crying about it. Doing something.
Kirk, where's that 10 million you won in the lottery? Can you give us a date of that?
We saw your picture.
I thought we were gonna get good news from Paul.
If I win the Powerball, I will build you the next item, any questions on the other ongoing item of business that Jeff, you asked me about, is the Leslie property, and I know Bill Nelson was gonna have a conversation with.
Yeah, hopefully we get that wrapped up by next month, because we've had that on the back burner for a long time,
Right.
and we'd like to cross that out.
I've asked Bill, but Jessica, you could ask Bill too, though.
Sure.
The SRE building. So you can see they started construction last week on April 3rd. Substantial completion date contractually is September 30th. However, they provided access to their scheduling software to Jessica and I, and they're anticipating being more like the end of July would be completion.
It'd be nice.
So they should be ahead of schedule. We did, have some conversations regarding boundaries and survey limits with some of the neighbors, as you all have been briefed on. I don't think there's anything we need to do, just keeping you all aware that there was a question there, and I think we've addressed that. Pretty confident in the survey. It was, surveyed by the LaPorte County surveyor, same guy, so we're pretty good on the boundaries there. This last item was the $14,000 to move the light pole. That was the rough estimate to move that light pole over. We have a plan B that we think will do the same thing for less money, and that's take it off of the pole. You get to keep the pole to do whatever you want with it, but, the.
Store the new SRE building.
Storing,
Oh, boy.
storing lots of this, but we're looking at mounting the fixture on the top of this building, right above us, right here. And, yeah, and then it's almost the same elevation, but because it is lower than the other poles, we can get rid of the red FA light on there, which will be less maintenance for Jessica and her team to change the red light bulbs too. And we think we can point it and get it to light pretty much the same area of the ramp that the pole does. So hopefully that saves us some money. And then it's still gonna be an ad, but we do have a few reductions because they're not gonna put quite as much pavement back since we mirrored the image of the building. We're gonna still have enough pavement there to park trucks, the pickup truck and things like that over there to the stage vehicles, but it didn't need to go all the way to the end. So we are gonna offset a little bit there, but Shane does not have that final number yet, so that's not included in the pay application. But I think that takes us to the pay application that you amended the agenda for. I can walk that through. So in your packet, we've got a pay application. This was not signed, but we have a signed copy for Jeff if we agree. Okay. So you can see on this pay application, the total contract price there, they're asking for the $76,911, but they're holding back 5% on the retainage, that's $3,845.55. So that makes the payment due this month, the $73,065.45. So what does that entail? If you turn to page 2, you will see what the $76,000 number entails. If you look at column E, you'll see the part of the drawing, the state design lease and the permits, which was a pay item that we have for them. They're asking for $19,000 on that because that's all done. We have all the drawings, they receive their state design release, all the site plans and all the permits are in place and pulled, so 100% payment there. We're only asking for $10,000 on some of the pole barn equipment that they needed to order. That's the garage doors, because the garage doors had a long lead time. So we hurried up, picked out a color. They're gonna be brown. And we've got those coming on their way. And then the mobilization, clearing, excavation, you can see the total pay on that is 63. He's asking for 43,751, which I don't really have any problem with at all, considering how much they've gotten cleared and moved in there. And then fence removal. That was the 6-foot chain link fence that was in the back right there, and then their normal coordination project management was $2,000. So that's what, Kurt, to your question, the $76,911. So we'll hold that $3,000 and change until the end of the project. And each pay application, 5% will be withheld, and then that will pay for any punch list items if they fail to complete.
All right, excellent. With that, do I have a motion to accept certification for payment number 1 for a total of $73,065.45?
I move that we approve the pay application number 1 for New Tech in the amount of $73,065.45.
Do I have a second?
I do, a second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Number 3, Paul, fuel farm.
Yeah, the field farm, I think the next step is we need to work with the city, be it the controller or how, whatever the process is on that. I'm gonna just follow Jessica's lead on this, because I'm not sure exactly who we need to talk to, but with that cost share change from the initial concept, we need to make sure everybody's good with that before we proceed forward. And
Working on it.
okay. So that's where we're at on the field farm.
All right, thank you. Old business, this is regarding the Gene Smith 40 acres cash farm lease. I know we discussed about that last time. We all looked it over and it was approved temporarily by us as long as we needed the signature on there. I know we have that now. So that looks good. Do I have a motion to approve now the Gene Smith 40 acres cash farm lease that has been signed?
I'll make the motion to approve. The cash list has been signed.
Thanks. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. New business, the Sky Sports 6 operating agreement extension. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the skydive operation with it? I know there was,
We have Troy here, yay!
I don't know what time this was.
1 o'clock.
I thought it was 2.
It's perfect timing because you're up.
Here, you can come up here and sit.
I'm moving to the back. But I need to be front center.
Come to front center, man.
There you go.
All right.
Boys looking pretty slim these days, huh?
if you would just state your name for the record on that.
Troy Church, the president of Sky Sports Incorporated.
Thank you.
You got a new plane.
Yeah, you to us.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Is this smaller?
No.
It's the same. I saw one fly over, I said, man, hold on a second. It was a real straight winged airplane or something.
Yeah, Pack 750, same
Yeah,
as
it's the
last
same
time.
as we had first.
But it's
3
all white
years.
now.
This one's all white, yeah, I've just been struggling with getting the radios going, we got that.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've heard you great.
Struggled the first couple days, it was hard,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So,
Under 750. That's 750.
yeah, it's got a great
UP,
deal
right?
number.
Yep.
And
Isn't it UP?
Up, yeah.
Yep, up 750.
that's cool. So I got a 750. Nice.
Ah, yeah, I
Oh,
like
you
that.
got a 750 tail number?
No, it's a 750 Cruiser. That's
Oh.
airplane make. So
Hmm.
I
They
think
should put it in an offer. and
It's
find
also
out.
a Pack 750,
I think
so,
when they're up there, I'm gonna just say 750 Cruiser.
yeah.
Well, we don't announce by it, we usually.
They say
call
Sky
sign
Line.
anyways.
And, yeah.
We have a street squad code and a call sign with an
What's your call
elevator.
sign again?
Skydive.
Skydive, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, with the Chicago authorities and South Bend. So
I saw you jumping, everything's going good so far?
so far,
Very cool.
we're running out of time on our lease though.
Yes, it's on here for today. So last year you had a good season?
Last year was solid, not quite what the year before was, which was pretty much an anomaly across the industry. But, solid, and I expect this year to be the same. Gonna need it that way to pay for this plane, so.
You're still pulling quite a bit of people from the Chicago area, right?
Well, that's where we go from.
Yeah.
You can't be much closer than here.
No, because you're right outside the
You're in
concierge place.
Lansing, Illinois, they're not interested in this in Gary, but they're not interested.
It's a great location.
Yeah, well, the view here is incredible.
Yeah, I bet.
The view here, and it's not a busy airport, which is good for us.
Yeah.
Not so good for everyone involved, but it is what it is. I can see it growing, but I think we can grow with it, so.
Well, did you have anything regarding, anything you wanted to add on the agreement on this?
I don't think so. I think everything works fine for us. I mean, we're always trying to work on airspace issues, trying to get that star arrival from over top. Because then we could run full altitude and compete with we don't really have competitors necessarily the way I think, but the other companies usually drop 13,500 and we generally are dropping about 11,000.
That's the star coming on.
Well, they're coming across the 12.
Go to my house, right? I
Yeah.
see that one.
To avoid the TCAS issues, we just stay 1,000 feet below rather than 500 is really the rule, but their TCAS is gonna go crazy. The airplane's climbing within 1,000 feet.
Right.
So, we've dealt with it. We've been offered to go up and try and split their traffic. Like we wait for one, but the cost of that and the time involved, we run a pretty fast operation. We can't be up there for 5 minutes waiting for a break and then hoping the break is what they say it
It
is.
works out, meaning if you do it the way you're doing it now, it's a guarantee every single time.
Yeah, we don't have any troubles. We have a great relationship with South Bend. I love the fact that we work with them as a jurisdiction, because they're just easy to work with, even when we were having radio problems. I mean, Saturday, literally, the two of us were in the cockpit because John was listening on a handheld radio because we couldn't hear on our radios. We got two 430s in it and we couldn't hear on either one. But they could hear us, we could mic up and key up and speak, but, so I'm answering them, he's hearing them, you know, and it just was a task, you know, but, you know, we needed to have both of us in there to operate safely, but.
I did talk to ATC. They came out and did one of those FAA safety programs, you know, that we do. The ATC controllers, they came out and like kind of led the meeting. And I talked to them about the skydive here, and they said they have absolutely no problems. They say that it's just as amazing to work with you as you say it's amazing to work with them. So it's good.
They're really good to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, Troy, you guys have done amazing work in terms of safety and all of that. So I imagine you could comment on that for this year.
We're always looking for that elusive 100% safe season, which is a lot to ask with the volume we run through. But, you know, we've never had a real serious, well, we've had two people that really required serious medical attention over the, how long we've been here, 7 years. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I'd say my estimation, you know, if you look at averages, we're well above average in safety aspect of the sport. There's you know, we hear about a lot of incidents and stuff everywhere else, but I'm pretty strict about that stuff too, because we don't need to hot dog or cause an accident. They could be preventable, and almost every accident is preventable.
Right.
You know, and so we have rules for how you fly the plane and stuff like that. Even just, you know, there's no reason to try and prove ourselves or impress people, because it's already impressive what we do. You know, we don't have to make it more impressive. But safety is always number one. You know, that's it. You know, it's not just me. With regards to the airplane, it's my friends, it's my family that are on this airplane, as well as, you know, customers. And then same thing, these people, it's like a second family. You know, we spend a lot of time together. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we just kind of look at it that way, that like, you know, if somebody gets hurt, it's like your brother getting hurt, you know,
Yeah.
And it's serious business. So, you know, we've got a good team. We have very experienced instructors.
Everybody back from last year? Any new ones?
No, well, we have some new kind of part-timer. They have some rules now about we run the hand cam system, so we generally take a camera on your hand, and the sport has a rule that says you have to have at least 200 tandem jumps before they can jump with a camera on their hand.
Oh, they're not getting distracted.
So they can't just
or
run it
anything
right
like
out
that.
the gate and get their tandem rating and jump right into that.
Yeah.
You know, of course, when I got my rating, which I don't even have a rating anymore, I've let that go, because I'm just not doing it and staying proficient. But there was no rules, because the cameras you put on your hands were this big. You know, you wouldn't have put that on your hand. But so they didn't have that. But as the sport progressed and the cameras got smaller, you know, they came to the point where people were getting a lot closer to having big incidents, because they were paying attention to what the camera's doing, not flying, you know, or you know, performing their duties as a tandem instructors.
Makes sense.
So we got a couple of guys. We had a guy last year that was in that situation. We got a new one this year. He's been with us for 3 years packing. Mm-hmm. So he'll be, I say part-time. We don't really have any part-timers. We don't have like weekend warriors that come in. You know, everyone there is full-time. Mm-hmm. But he'll be working part-time packing, and as he can, when we have opportunities that don't require the hand cam, then we put him in to jump.
What's your percentage of solo jumps?
It's pretty low. You know, that would be where our competition is with Skydive Chicago or Chicago and Skydiving, or Skydiving Midwest. Those would be the big other three in Chicago, because we have the limitation on airspace, which is altitude for us. So when they can go pay, you know, the same amount of money and jump with other people at a higher altitude somewhere else that's reasonably close, they choose to do that most of the time, which they're always welcome here, but I'm not really, you know, I'm not going to fight for it.
Yeah.
This year it might change a little bit, because I haven't really raised my prices, and a lot of other people have, as far as the solo jumpers. You know, we raised them a little bit, I think, this year, but there's people that are getting up to $35, and we're still at like 27, I think, or something like that.
That's great.
So, yeah, with regard to fueling, you have designated people to do that. I mean, sometimes when you get really busy, and somebody who doesn't know what they're doing could grab that thing and, so.
Well, luckily, most of the people around there, they don't really want to do it. The people that are fueling are kind of tasked with that. A lot of times it'll be me this year. Having our own fuel has really turned out to be a little more expensive, but way better, because we don't have to fight over here or worry about getting in line. We don't have people saying that we're telling them wrong things. I remember with a few years back, someone saying I told them they couldn't fuel here, something like that. It's baloney. I never would say that, but yeah, we just go run our own thing. But we're gonna have this year. There's gonna be a training document. I haven't finished it, but we're actually gonna follow our a document, for who can do it. They're gonna get signed off and how we do it.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
And that's mostly gonna follow manufacturer's recommendations for hot fueling, because
It's for liability too, if something were to happen.
plus I just wanna make sure that we're not, I think the FAA's been in here before, and they've looked at it a couple times and maybe kind of raised an eyebrow. They've never said anything about how we hot fuel. But I'd rather have something that shows, because the FAA, they're kind of big on that. Hey, if you have a program and you're following it, then we're much better with that. Because it's something we've thought about ahead of time,
Right.
and then we're implementing that, and these are the people that are qualified for that. So that's one of my big things getting started. The season's crept up on me like it always does. I don't know how that happens.
Are you still gonna use the scissor lift? That works good? The scissor lift, you're gonna still use that? It worked
We
good?
don't need it. A low wing.
Oh, yeah, 'cause you got the.
Not only do we have a low wing, but the pack has a huge crossover pipe, so you don't have to worry about fuel imbalance. There is a fuel imbalance rules in the POH, but we're only putting on 22 gallons every other load. So, but we put it in that pilot side tank, and that's it. By the time it makes it to the runway, we're balanced for sure.
Good.
Oh, it's perfect.
So where the Caravan, those
Oh, yeah, 'cause
any
before
high
you
wing
do
Cessnas don't
multiple
balance.
ones.
With the crap. So we get to the runway, even putting in one tank, and you can still feel it on takeoff. So, but yeah, we don't really have to worry about that, like the scissor lift,
Yeah.
because it's low wing. But again, part of that training document is making sure somebody doesn't walk up there, which I actually had somebody I saw my second in command do, kind of walk without. I want somebody basically brushing the wing when they walk up to the fuel cap. I don't want you walking in a diagonal. We're gonna keep you as far away from that propeller as possible. Even though it's clearly not a danger, a bad habit, a slack habit leads to a bad habit, and a bad habit leads to an injury or worse. So I've seen 2 prop strikes in my day, and I never want to see another. It's bad. And look, they both survived, but not the way they walked into it. So yeah.
The circle out there's good, that we cut, you don't need to move it or put it anywhere else, you're
I
happy with where it's at?
haven't looked at it from the air
Okay.
yet. I've had my hands.
So,
We cut a circle out in the other field for,
That's early.
drop
I'm
circle.
surprised you got out there though.
We haven't cut it yet, I just wanna make sure that's where we
Okay.
want it, is where it was last year, that's a good place.
Yeah, there's been a
No
few people
issues.
asking if I can put pea gravel out there, like a pea gravel pit. It's a common skydiving accoutrement basically for a landing area, because it's soft, dig it out a little bit, put some pea gravel in, and it gives someone a specific target to go for. I'm kind of for and against both things. I like the soft part. I don't like the target part, because what you have in skydiving, especially as we get into people that are getting a little more experience, is target fixation becomes an issue. And you can have multiple people going for that target, and they're not really looking at each other, they're looking at the damn target, And we've seen a lot of injuries in the last 10 years because of that. In fact, the owner of Skydive Chicago died due to that. 2 people going for the same target.
Oh, wow.
They had an in-air collision and he lost his life. So, it's not a joke. It's a very serious thing. Because, if your parachute stops flying, you're falling at terminal velocity to the ground, and that's bad. So, but yeah, we might revisit that later. But I always tell them, you can always go put a Frisbee out there or something like that and have your own personal target. But if we put a big one out there, it can become an issue.
Yeah, change everybody's focal point.
Yeah, it's good and bad. I think there's good for it, but there's bad for it.
Fly right over the BOR.
And I think the bad part of it, for me, outweighs the good part of it.
Right.
Because they can put a small frisbee that doesn't stand out to anybody yet, but they can still see
They
it.
know where it's at, or.
That's right. You don't have to put it in one specific spot. And, yeah.
That's good.
Here's a final question on security. I know I haven't seen it anywhere in the country happen, but how do you vet the customers, the clients? How would you know that somebody is not doing something nefarious or mendacious? How do you know that? Is there some way that you guys?
They'd have to be pretty good at hiding it, because one, we harness them up ourselves, so we're touching them.
Okay.
But, I mean, most people, getting on that airplane is a scary thing. Just the skydive, the whole skydive is one of the most scary things they've ever done. They're not, the fact that they're trying to get on, if they were trying to get on there to do something bad, I just can't even imagine it, or we would pick it up that, wait, this guy isn't acting right or something, but I don't know that anybody does it, but I don't know that, I can't say it's not necessary, but I just can't see it happening. Plus the fact that nobody on my plane, as far as the staff, is going to be a victim. If somebody presents a weapon or something, they're going to stop it. They're not going to stand and watch the guy. You can't just walk down the aisle either. It's not like you can walk up to the cockpit. The cockpit might only be 2 feet, but you're packed in there.
Yeah.
So you can't just get up and move. We control their seatbelts. We got harness on them.
I'm just asking the question because
It's a valid question.
it's just so much violence now. In contexts.
The other advantage we have is, we're kind of out off the beaten path. There's not a lot for them to hit.
Yeah.
Our airplane's not real fast either. It's not going to outrun an F-16 or anything. So. It's just not. There's really not for them to come up here and try to go to Chicago. I think we're going to have time to do something. It should be 20 minutes to get downtown, in the airplane. But I think it's something I've thought about. It's not the first time I've thought about it, But really, most people are jumping in shorts and t-shirt. There's not a lot of places for them to hide something.
Yeah.
That's something that could do any real damage. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact that the whole team, they're going to stop whatever's happening. Because they're the ones that aren't going to be scared. They're going to we got to stop it. And we've learned that as a society, that you can't just let these people go and think somebody else is going to stop them, because they may not.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with 9/11, you saw things can be stopped. These people can't one can't overtake 1,000. So, but this is a good question.
Good. Okay.
Probably something we need to revisit, every once in a while, and just kind of look at how we're doing the best we can. And I think I'm going to bring it up at the next team meeting.
Yeah.
So let's just all think about this.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wanted to bring on a knife or something like that,
Very good.
how are we going to stop them?
Yeah.
Cool, thanks Troy, appreciate you coming in here to discuss. With that, has everybody had a chance to look at the 6th operating agreement extension?
And then we approved the Sky Sports Incorporated 6th operating agreement extension.
And this will be commencing at midnight on the 14th of April, 2023, ending at midnight on the 14th of April, 2024.
That's tomorrow.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I was wondering if it's possible to push that back into May or something, where we're not getting ready at the beginning of the season. Every time, I'm always late, it's just the way it is, the season creeps up on me.
So what do you want? You want it to start April and then end May?
And then we could go from May to May after that, and I'm just saying somewhere we could go a little longer, gives me a little bit more time.
I think the whole purpose of starting in April is supposed to be when the start of your operation is, because if for some reason it wasn't gonna work out, we don't want you operating for a month and then tell you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's why it was done. But I always make it to after the board meeting, and that's on purpose, because then we know for sure we're gonna have an April board meeting in case we miss March, which we do, and then we know that we can catch up. So the start date, you know what I mean? So your current date goes through today, which is the board meeting day, and so I did that for next year too. And I actually think the board meeting for next year is like the 12th, so it's actually like 2 days after that.
Okay, well, I mean.
So I think that's the reason that Bill puts that
I
in
think
there.
next year going forward, we can just have more discussion if that's, we want to adjust that, but I think it's a little too late right now.
Well, and that's fine, I just wanted to bring it up that, it's just kind of like, it's kind of like a given for me every year, and then I come thinking, I'll come talk to Jessica, and it's like, oh,
And we
now
don't
we
have to be
gotta,
in a panic mode.
now we gotta do some math and figure out, are we gonna be able to get this done in time? And like,
Yeah.
even this time, I had to make sure we weren't operating today, which we weren't, because we weren't
Because it
operating today.
It ended at midnight today.
yeah.
So today.
So we could discuss that before next year and adjust it, and we could come up with.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah,
Which is
we
fine.
could just do a multi-year agreement as well, I don't know, we've been going for a long time, and
Well,
a
we
big
can
issue.
address that, and we'll change it if we need to next year
Yeah,
before we make.
it's just something I wanted to bring up. that-
Awesome.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, thank you, appreciate it for the extension, and we'll bring that up next year, make changes that are necessary.
Yeah, well, Justin and I have talked about it ahead of time. But it always seems to be at the last minute, it's just,
Yeah.
I think that might be with everyone that runs a seasonal business.
No, but I get it, we can make some modifications and
Yeah.
make sure everybody's happy.
Perfect.
All right, thanks for,
All right,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah.
All right, next, claims docket for the amount of $45,010.25. Have we get a chance to, look at all the details on that?
I move we approve the claims docket $45,010.25.
Is there a second?
Yep.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes for passing the claims docket. Thank you. Correspondent, public comment. Anything? No?
Today's the
Thank you.
13th.
All right, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Most of it.
Is there a second?
Second, sorry.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. How do you sign?